Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Mist Podcast with Nish Shadri, and welcome to another episode of Women's Football. Yes, we're here to discuss what happened over the weekend, and we've got two guests with us. Yes, we're going bigger and better, apparently, these days. But one of them was on last week as well to discuss the game itself. Didn't end quite well for her, but it is what it is. And another person for the first time on the podcast, we have a Barca fan, Anirban Chakraborthy and Radha Gupta. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, thank you.
Yeah, doing all right as I can be. 2 days after a Champions League loss, but yeah.
Yeah, she looks genuinely depressed. Like she's just, You guys can't see this because those of you are listening on Spotify. But yeah, she genuinely looks depressed. But yeah, 4-0 win for Barcelona in the Champions League final, Women's Champions League final, for those of you who don't know. Pretty one-sided affair to start off. Anirban, what do you think?
Yeah, I understand Radha's reaction because I was doing the same thing when we got beaten up in 2019, so I completely understand. But yeah, sheer dominance. I think I honestly, we didn't expect this 4-0 thing. When Radha and I were last in another podcast, we were like 2-1, right? And we thought it was going to be a close competition. But yeah, this was nerves, and like I keep saying this, it's 2019 flashback for me because I felt the same thing when Barca was playing that time. And unfortunately, this time Chelsea were on the back end, because when you see Harder missing those chances, it's nerves. It's not the quality of player, but it's nerves coming in. So Chelsea will grow from this experience for sure, as we have. And the dominant part, of course, after the second goal, we just dominated because the nerves came off, and it helped us to dominate in that way.
Yeah. Pretty. I mean, I think it showed that it was Chelsea's first final. And, we spoke about this on the preview podcast as well, Radha. That was the one thing that I said, they could sort of face a little bit of nerves, because both me and Radha had Chelsea winning the finals, and we both look like fools right now. So, Radha, your thoughts on just how the game panned out? The opening goal, the own goal, just really didn't help at all, did it?
Yeah, I think it's clear now more than ever that you cannot simulate the pressures that come with a Champions League final. You can read about it, hear about it, even try to recreate it, but there is no sort of carbon copy for the kind of pressures that these players feel. And sure, Pernilla Harder has been there 2 times and lost 2 times, but your entire spine, your entire team has to go through that to actually grow and kind of come out better on the other side. And credit to Barcelona for having a 2-year turnaround. It's not easy to do that, and they absolutely completely dominated the game. I think, of course, the own goal was a freak own goal. Fran Kirby with all her might kicked it into Melanie Leopolz, which then looped into our goal. And yeah, I think that kind of set the tone, was almost a metaphor for what the evening was going to pan out to be like. Within, I think, the next 10 to 12 minutes, there was a penalty decision. Of course, Alexia Putellas was not missing from the spot. And 2-0 up, having the rub of the green, having felt this occasion before, and having been on the losing end 2 years ago, this team was very much ready to claim that prize. And I honestly was envious of the kind of link up that Barcelona had. I think it was so beautiful to watch. I was really upset almost that, my team wasn't doing that and that everything was going into my goal. But it was a beautiful game to watch in Barcelona's end, and surely a big learning curve for Chelsea.
Definitely a very, you remarked upon it just now, and I was going to bring it up anyway, but brilliant sort of football just in general from Barcelona. Just they looked like they were the better team. They played like they were the better team. And, on paper, yes, we all expected a close game, but on the pitch, it turned out to be anything but. Your most sort of, as a fan, when you're watching that, your most impressive part of that performance, what would that be as a fan? Unable. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think for me, it was Lieke Martens. I think she was, and I said this before, that I knew she would have, like, she always comes up in big equations. we were building up to it. In the quarterfinals, she didn't play. I think she played in the second half, and because of injury concerns, she had problems. But that does not mean that like she lost her charm, and the way she bang 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 on the wings. I think that's where Chelsea fall apart, because the wings, I don't think they were able to control. And if you see the game entirely for the first 5-10 minutes, even Barca screwed up a lot. Though Chelsea were not able to score. I think there was one Maria did one slide it down and saved that goal kind of thing. But again, that's what first 5 minutes everybody was on it was a freak show, and then after that slowly I think they got confidence, the Barca team. And when the two wingers are going on, they have got the confidence. And of course, when a player like Lieke goes on, you cannot stop them. And especially, I was hearing one of the commentators, and they were saying that I think out of 11, all almost 10 were supposed to get the the player of the match, because only Panos didn't have much to do. Other than that, each player of Barcelona had something to do. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the defense, honestly. Also, because I was thinking that defense might come under pressure and screw things up, but because Chelsea were not able to convert those chances, I think that made us more confident in protecting our goal.
And yeah, I mean, you mentioned this just now. Pernilla Harder, sort of had one of those very, very early chances. I think it was still 1-0 when she had her shot at goal. But just, how, I mean, it would have definitely changed the game. And yeah, I mean, was it just nerves, like, like we've been saying, or is it because she's been to the finals before, even if the rest of the team hasn't, like those one-on-one chances, you kind of expect her to control. Was that like a moment when you knew, Radha, that okay, this is just not going to be our day? Like if she's missing our chances, then it's not going to be our day.
It felt like that. It felt like that, especially because all our chances fell to her. We did not really have any chances coming out of Kerr or Kirby. So Harder, having had that experience, I know it's a lot of pressure to put on one player, but I wanted her to level up a little bit and really prove that and show that she has been in this kind of situation before, and she does not want to go back with a silver medal for the third time. But unfortunately, in the second minute, literally in the second minute, she had a open goal. She had to just kind of open the face of her boot and knock it past the goalie. Unfortunately, it went over the bar, and it felt like I think at that time we were still completely rattled by the own goal. So I was like, okay, surely we'll get a couple more chances. Surely they'll now start settling down and building up play. But after that penalty, it was just a case of scrambling to make clean passes. I think scrambling to counter Barcelona's high press. They were so confident. You could really see the confidence come out in Barcelona. And also our fullbacks, of course, we've mentioned they're very inexperienced. They're 21 and 23 years old. I think the wingers of Barcelona, even when they didn't have the ball, their positioning and their movement was so good that they drew our fullbacks out and created so much space in the center, which was then, of course, exploited. Millie Bright, Eriksson, and Katrin Berger, if you look at it, they really didn't have much they could do in those goals. The goals that the Barcelona team scored, I think, were just executed to perfection. So yeah, it did feel a bit like, I want this final time whistle to blow really quickly. It might be too unbearable to watch this go on.
Yeah, definitely. And how much of a miss do you think was Maren Mjelde? Because I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but yeah, because Uwcl played in her place, I guess. And, she was, not to sort of exaggerate it, but she was basically rinsed by Lieke Martens on that side. And yeah, I mean, how much of a miss was your regular sort of right back?
Very much so. She's built for these kind of games. She's very experienced and she has a great connection with our centre backs. In one breath, I can say that after her injury, we actually filled that spot pretty well, especially considering that we had a 21-year-old who didn't have so many minutes, who was in fact relegated with Liverpool in the summer before. It was big shoes to fill, of course, and Uwcl really did well. She's got a very attacking presence. That proved to be our downfall. I think within 20 seconds, she was caught out of position. Lieke Martens was 10 feet behind her, and it was just a case of playing catch up. And I think that catch up is another metaphor for what Chelsea did for 90 minutes. So I think a very, very big night for Jess and for Neve on both our wings. I think definitely a lot to learn from this. A night they'll want to forget, but they won't. I think they'll try to learn from this. They'll watch it back. It'll be painful. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Barcelona did a similar thing 2 years ago. So this Chelsea team has to do that, has to just be burnt by that fire for 2 years, 3 years, however long it takes to overcome that and come out from that on victorious on the other side. But yeah, I think our fullbacks, I knew going into this would be our weakness. Barcelona knew that too, and they really exploited it.
Yeah. So it, quickly things sort of escalated 4-0 within the first half an hour. And this is a question to both of you. The second half, Barcelona sort of dominated the first half. I think we all can agree upon that. But the second half, Anirban, to you, I want to ask, do you think Barcelona took their foot off the gas? And rather to you, the vice versa is, do you think Chelsea sort of stepped it up and finally were able to match Barcelona? But, by that point, it was just too late. We'll start with Anirban for this one.
Yeah, partly I would say yes, we did. I would say, yeah, we did that. But then if you see at the last moment also, we brought Uwcl in. So I think that showed intent that we are going to go all out, right? Because Uwcl is one of our best players, and she almost created that chance of scoring another goal. So that intent was there. I think we got more comfortable by the second half, more comfortable than the first half. Probably the first half did where we scored goals, but I think coming on the second half, we know that we have 1 foot on the trophy, and we are going to go all the way to protect that, not just protect the lead, but if we get any chance, we'll go counter attack and we would score if the goal opportunities are there. So I would say, we had those I think 1 or 2 opportunities later in the second half, but we were. I mean, it's classic Barca where we try to control possession. So I would take it, because if you see when we were rotating between players, we were so comfortable just passing around here and there, and I think that showed confidence in the team rather than if we were sloppy. And I think the pass percentage, we had a good pass percentage as such. So I think that's where the players got more comfortable and confident in the second half.
Radha, and from your perspective, do you think Chelsea finally stepped up in the second half? But then, like I said, by that point, you're 4-0 down. It's too late. It's too little too late, I suppose.
It is, yeah. And sure, relative to the first half, Chelsea stepped up, but they were not anywhere close to the Chelsea that needs to be there or needs to show up to win that final. And I received a lot of messages saying, oh, look, the second half was much better. And everyone who sent that, I appreciate the gesture. But honestly, I was just numb and I was in pain. And especially because I'm not going to settle for, oh, look, they had a good second half, right? If you're a team that's come to a final, having the run that Chelsea has had, losing the first leg in a semi-final, coming back, you need to have that extra gear to sort of reach into this final. And I think that's what we missed out on. So while relative to the first half, which was a disaster and just a downward spiral of pain and confusion, the second half was better. But we really failed to create any attacking chances. So in the second half, although we had a little more of the ball, Barcelona didn't really want to score more. They didn't need to. So they were controlling the game. They're very comfortable, very confident with the ball. They saw a good, smooth 45 minutes out. They were happy to keep it in 0-0 second half. That's what happened. So I think Chelsea didn't have that magic spark or that Chelsea touch that I've seen and I expected. And yeah, that's why I still do. I'm a bit hard on the team when I say that, they just did not really appear for that final.
Definitely. And yeah, you mentioned Uwcl. On a personal level, I'm just very happy as 2 former Arsenal players, Losada and Uwcl, both of them getting Champions League winners medals. So that's pretty good. And yeah, Chelsea didn't take that whole quadruple thing away from us. So that's also really nice. Yeah, I mean, the final as a whole was pretty good for a final. Not the most sort of not an all-time classic final, but a pretty good final. But going into next season, the format of the Champions League is changing. Got group stage and then the knockouts. So first of all, let's start with that. Does that add a layer of excitement that maybe hasn't been seen in the Women's Champions League till now? We'll start with you, Radha.
It does. And I think that is the entire goal with changing this format, right? Nadine Kessler, who's the director of women's football at UEFA, I'm personally very pleased that she's up there at the helm of the ship. She's an ex-player, she's won Champions League, she knows what it's about, what kind of stage these players deserve, and how to make decisions that will result in progress of women's football at the European stage. So it's very good to see a 16-member group stage come in. And of course, we have 2 mini qualifying rounds before that, which expands the chances of new teams making it to a higher level in this competition. So, and of course, we have a new anthem, which if no one's listened to it yet, go ahead and listen to that. It's a very powerful, empowering anthem. Another good step, I think, to enrich the prestige of this tournament and really give the players the platform they deserve. So, of course, going into the season, I truly believe that the winner of the next Champions League and then the Champions Leagues to come are going to have a different kind of victory than the Champions League that have gone by, because this new season, this new format is really leveling up everything, and it's going to be that much harder to get that European title. So it'll be a very, very fierce battle, starting from the round of 16s or the quarterfinals right up till that championship match, and I'm personally very excited to follow it.
Anirban, are you a fan of the new format as well, or do you have some reservations?
So no, yeah, definitely. Because for me, the more platform these women get, the better the Champions League becomes. And one is that, of course, we need more competition, we need more players out there, and if this provides a platform for much younger teams who are in other countries, if they can come and have that platform. And we have seen that all over, right? Wherever, okay, yes, sometimes they might get beaten up, say 5-0, 6-0, whatever it is, but the very fact that they're getting the platform in a stage like Champions League, it's huge. Because I've seen, even, for example, a lot of people talk about the Spanish league, where the teams get hammered by Barca, but whatever it is, they're still getting that stage to play, and that matters. And of course, they will improve season by season. But the very fact that they're getting a platform like this, I'm all for it. The more the players, the more the pool of players, it's better for all of us to watch and enjoy. And of course, we will have more matches to enjoy. So that's one more plus point.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a fan of the new Champions League format as well, and the new Champions League anthem that Radha mentioned as well. It sounds really good. For me, I think it's just the fact that there's a group stage that adds a different sort of element. Because if you have the top 2 qualifying, you have these elements of, okay, where do I want to finish? Do I want to finish first, second? Because sometimes we've seen it in the men's Champions League as well. Sometimes finishing second can sometimes turn out to be better than finishing first, as sort of counterintuitive as that may sound. Next season, going into sort of their respective domestic and European seasons, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Barcelona, defending champions in both Spain and in Europe. There's going to be loads of pressure. Lyon is not going to be silent about this whole thing. Wolfsburg are going to come back. They signed Jill Road as well recently. So yeah, I'm quite disappointed by that. But we move. So what are your sort of, can Barcelona handle that pressure is essentially what I'm asking, because it's their first European title. They're not experienced like Lyon, for example. Can they handle that pressure?
Oh, trust me, we are ready. We have been being ready for this for a long time. I think since 2019, we wanted a team which would dominate like Lyon. And if you see the investments over the players, over the ground, the infrastructure, it has been leading to that. And that's why in 2019 to now, if you see that the teams, there's hardly any changes in the Barcelona team. There have been some additions, but those additions have strengthened the team rather than making just adding on to the team. But like players like Caroline, they have added those great value to the team. And I expect a couple of more signings, 1 or 2 signings for Barca. But the core of the team remains the same. We have an 18-year-old who won the Champions League. That's amazing. So we have an amazing bench strength. So I see Barca, and I hope that I don't jinx it, but to dominate both league and Champions League for the next 2 seasons at least. We have that team. We have the capability for it. But of course, the other teams are also gearing up for this. I think they're about to sign one of my favorite players, Van Dong. So they are not giving up. So yeah, I mean, I think we need just one or two more signings, and I think we should be good to roll for the next season.
And Chelsea, they're going to face another grueling domestic campaign. Man City are going nowhere. Hopefully, Arsenal can do something decent with a new coach. And Man United are going to be there as well. So you've already got a very tough domestic season, and you've got to the finals of a European trophy. Where do you see next season going? Like, the expectations are going to be there on Chelsea. Do you think they can handle it?
Yeah, the expectations are definitely going to be there. I think if you're a winner, you have a target on your back. I think I mentioned this in the preview as well. But, the fact that the WSL was cut off the year before and we won it and they were like, oh, you didn't earn it. Now we've gone ahead and earned it. That target just gets bigger and bigger. You want to dethrone the person on top. Same thing for Barcelona, right? Everyone in Europe wants to dethrone Barcelona. Everybody in Spain wants to do that. And it's a very similar narrative with Chelsea as well. I think this season, they've had a successful season, 3 tournaments, 3 medals that they've taken home. They're on course for a domestic treble. Hopefully that pays off if they continue a good run of form. But obviously getting into next season, we cannot stop growing. I think that's the key. And I think Emma Hayes knows that very well. We signed Anique Nouwen, a 22-year-old centre back. I do believe we'd probably get another fullback or two just because our one injury has kind of, led to the spiral of confusion. But yeah, look, all teams rather in the WSL are going to be growing, right? Obviously, there's a mass exodus from Arsenal at this point, but I imagine that there'll be a mass inflow somewhere around the summer where you're suddenly going to get a lot of players. Of course, new coaches are expected for United, for Arsenal, for a few teams down the table as well. So there's a big upheaval or like a big turnaround happening in the English league. And clubs are really looking to invest. Hopefully that's the case. And, it's not a case of ignorance or neglect that's happening. But this season, every progressive season is going to get harder and harder, especially, no pun intended, especially with newer players coming into the season and all teams really, really wanting that top spot, especially getting to the top of the WSL has a different kind of charm in English, right? In English football, I think you always have that name. It's always the stats that are compared at the WSL stats and then the Champions League stats, right? County Cup and FA Cup are second and third. So, of course, for Chelsea, don't stop growing. And I think this loss is a good place to start growing from. If they had won, they might have been on top of the world and said all's right with our club. But the fact that we've lost this, there is now a very, very serious project in Emma Hayes' mind. And she's going to ensure dominance in England to then use that momentum to trampoline into success in Europe as well.
Yeah. Rather talking about dominance in England, let's hope Arsenal have something to say about that. But great season for Barcelona. Congratulations once again, Anirban. I would say I'm sorry for Chelsea, but Radha took shots at me the last podcast episode, so I'm not going to. It's fine. It happens. You lose Champions League finals, you lose football games. That's what sport is all about. But thank you, both of you, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. Pretty short episode, but that's fine with me. But for those of you listening, thank you for your support wherever you guys are. Please do subscribe to She Talks Ball from Radha's channel, that is. And she does a lot of stuff with women's sports. Pretty impressive. I am a fan as well. And I can see Anirban nodding, so I'm guessing he likes it as well. And Anirban's a Barca fan, as we've established through these last 25 minutes. But thank you guys for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no worries.